Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm doing another interview. My guest today is an actress and dancer. They've been in things such as The Next Step, Zombies and Zombies 2. Today they'll be joining me and they're going to tell us more about their acting and dancing careers, and they'll also share some memories too. So today Jade Whitney will be joining me and I can't wait to be talking to her.
Hey, I'm Jade Whitney. I'm a professional dancer. I live in Toronto. I also choreograph and do some acting. And I have been dancing pretty much my whole life.
Thank you so much for coming, Jade. So today I've got 10 questions based on your dancing and acting career. And my first question for you is, when did you first get into the acting and dancing industries?
So I started dancing. I started dancing when I was a kid, but I started to work as a dancer as soon as I finished high school when I was 18. And I got into acting a little bit after that. I was just training in acting for a bit, and then started to work in it a little bit, but I primarily dance and I also choreograph. So yeah, since I was 18, which was like 8 years ago, I guess.
Amazing. So my next question is about something that you've been in, and it is, what was it like being on The Next Step?
It was so fun. I loved that job. I did a lot of stretching on camera, so I was very, very flexible that summer. But it was really fun working with the actors, and I wasn't personally acting on the show, I was just dancing. So it was a cool experience. I loved working with Amy. I think that was my first time working with her, actually, and I love Amy so much. She's so awesome. So it was really fun. Yeah, I had a great time.
Yeah, amazing. What was it like auditioning for The Next Step?
So I actually, when I did film, which was, I believe, season 5 and a little bit of season 6, I actually didn't audition for it. I just was booked through Amy.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool, because I know you were on TNS West in season 5 from what I can remember. Do you have any advice to people who want to get into the acting or dancing industries?
I mean, well, first of all, definitely just do it if you feel called to it. I definitely think that it's a super fulfilling career if that's the journey that you're meant to be on. I also would just say to, especially for younger performers, to just keep your options open and to be open to just different types of experiences, because I know for me when I was younger, I was like, just get me into different oh, that's my dog. Just get me into different spaces so that I can start to find myself and understand who I am as not only an artist but as a human as well. I think that this journey to through acting and dance is also such a great journey for discovering who you are.
Yeah, that's some fantastic advice. Thank you so much for sharing it. I really hope people can take something from it. What was the audition process like for Zombies?
So I did the first and the second Zombies. The first Zombies audition was a closed call, so it was only through agencies. And there were a lot of dancers there. There was a first round, then there was a cut, and then we did the combo again. We did it we did it 2 at a time. So it's definitely pretty stressful, like when you're dancing 2 at a time at an audition. Normally that doesn't really happen, or hasn't happened to me a lot, where it's been such a small group. So I definitely think I was probably nervous, but it was really fun. And yeah, and then the second one, I remember it being a smaller audition. There were less dancers there. And that audition I found it a little bit less like stressful or intense for the second Zombies. I think also because I had already done the first movie, so I think I just knew a little bit what I was getting myself into at the audition. But it's always fun in Toronto because I get to see all my friends, and everyone's really supportive of each other, and I never find it to be super competitive at the audition. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, 100%, and it does sound like it's a great time on set and everything. Did you know some people that were in Zombies?
Oh yeah, I knew like everyone. Because the community in Toronto is not that big, right? So I pretty much knew most of the dancers. Maybe I met a couple, but for the most part, I had known everybody already. It was the actors during the first movie that I hadn't met them before. But then once we did the second one, it was, you know, most of the cast, like Milo and Meg, and then they added a couple actors for the second one. So yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, it does sound like a great time. So my next question is, in 2020, you appeared in Odd Squad. What was that experience like?
That was really fun. It was my first acting experience where I wasn't dancing. So it was my first time saying lines, all of that stuff. So it was definitely a very eye-opening experience for me, having only experienced being a dancer on set to being thrown into the acting world a little bit. However, because the show is for a younger crowd, I found it a little bit less stressful because I was acting with younger kids, so it was really cute actually. They were pretty young, and they were giving me lots of energy, so it was pretty easy to just like work off of them. And the stuff we were doing was really funny. Like I had to pretend I was going through lasers, and I had to pretend I was like falling on marbles. So it was definitely super fun, and also just a great learning experience for me to be on set actually speaking. I found the hardest part, having not experienced that before, was just they would change your lines pretty like on the spot. And I especially because it was my first acting job, I was like rehearsed my lines like so well. But then when we're on set, they're like, actually, instead of that, can you say this instead, you know? And so it was moments like that where I was like, okay, I need to like change fast, you know? Which is obviously dancers have to do that as well, but it's different with remembering words than it is to remember dance moves. So it was just like working a different muscle. But it was a great time. I loved it.
Yeah, it does sound like it was a great time again, and it's great that you got to experience it. Have you always wanted to be an actor or a dancer?
Actually, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. And then eventually I wanted to be a singer, and I wanted to be a pop star for a while. But it wasn't until I was maybe 12, 13, I started to like dancing more. I guess when I was singing, I was often alone, and when I was dancing, I was with my friends. So at that age, I just remember thinking, well, this is a lot more fun. I get to be with my friends. We all get to dance together, you know, instead of me like singing by myself. So I ended up leaning way more towards dance at that point. And then, yeah, naturally, I think when I was nearing the end of high school, I definitely knew I wanted to try dance out as a career. I just didn't know what was gonna happen. I was just hoping for the best, and luckily, you know, it's been working out. So yeah, I'm glad that I made that choice for sure.
Yeah, 100%, and obviously it was the best decision for you, and it's amazing that you're a great dancer too.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Also, in 2020, you were a dancer in Julie and the Phantoms. What was that experience like?
Yeah, that was a great experience. Definitely was a new experience for me. I hadn't done anything like what we were doing on that show before for a TV and film job. It was like a very big, massive number. There was like some of the best dancers I've ever worked with were in those numbers that we did, and we had a very long rehearsal process actually, so it was kind of great because we were very well prepared, I felt, at least for the shoot, whereas on other jobs, sometimes the rehearsal process is so short that you get on set and you're like, okay, I need to make sure, you know, like I do this well. But with that one, I felt that we had rehearsed a lot, which was really good. and I had a great time. It was in Vancouver, so I was able to meet some new dancers. A lot of them I already knew before, but it's always an interesting experience to be working in a new city, and I find that kind of really comes into the experience when you're away from home. It just makes things I don't know, I guess exciting, because you feel like you're on a trip somewhere, you know.
Yeah, well, it does sound like exciting, and again, it's great that you got to be part of that too. Have you ever had any hurdles in your career?
I mean, for sure, for sure. Even just recently, I was working on 2 Disney movies in this past fall, and I was on set for one of them and pulled my hamstring. And I had never pulled a muscle before, so in my head I was like, oh, it'll be better in a couple days, you know. And then like 3 months later, even now, it still bothers me. So it was definitely a huge wake up call for me that I need to, as I'm getting older especially, I need to really make sure I'm warming up properly, especially when you're on set. Sometimes you're waiting around for so long, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, it's time to like do the number, you know, and you're not that warm sometimes, and you just jump right into it. And that was basically how I injured myself. And then I pushed through the rest of the jobs because I luckily was able to continue dancing, but I knew that I shouldn't have been based on the state of my injury. I should have stopped and rested, but I mean, I just had these huge, amazing opportunities that I was just like, I'm gonna get through it, you know? But once I finished, because I pushed my body a little bit too hard, I had to then take more time off than I maybe would have had to at the beginning. So I had to take like a 2-month break. It was really tough, especially when you're just used to dancing a lot, to go from dancing all the time to not dancing at all. It was just like really hard. And yeah, I learned a lot though. So I mean, at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason. So I don't want to say it's inevitable as a dancer, but I do think that some wear and tear is inevitable, you know, especially as you're getting older. So yeah, I would say that was like a recent hurdle that I was faced with.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that story. And yeah, I think obviously, like you said, everything happens for a reason, and I hope like obviously people can like not that you didn't warm up properly, but people can obviously be inspired by your story and everything.
No, honestly, I didn't warm up properly, and that was the issue. So please, everyone, warm up.
So I have a couple more questions for you, and my next question is, what has been the best moment in your career so far, if you can pick, because this is such a hard question.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard question because I have had some great moments. I guess just off the top of my head, one of the Disney movies that I was working on this past fall, so it was in October. It wasn't just the job itself. It was being able to dance with my friends and some dancers that I was just meeting, but just there was 50 of us, and like we were all COVID tested, so it was like it was we were being COVID tested every 2 days. So it was really incredible, especially after, you know, the whole COVID experience, of everyone experiencing isolation, not being able to hang out with their friends, and spending so much time away from, you know, because to me dance is such like a communal activity. It's like I love dancing with others, and I love sharing with others, and to have that taken away for so long, and then to be able to come back into it and to share this dance space with all these incredible dancers again, I think I just went into it with so much more gratitude than I ever felt before, because I wasn't taking it for granted at all. And I just felt like that experience was so magical, just being with everyone and getting to share what we love with each other.
Yeah, 100%. It does sound like a magical experience. So I have one more question for you, and this is definitely my favourite question to wrap up an interview, and it is, do you have any stories from your acting or dancing career?
Stories. I have one story that I can think of. So actually, this also is probably one of my favorite moments of my life. Not just my career, but like my life. So I have always been extremely inspired by FKA Twigs. She, especially when I was around 21, which was like 5-6 years ago, when I first discovered her music, I just felt like it helped me to discover a new part of myself that I hadn't discovered yet. And I love to choreograph to it, I love to dance to it. It was just kind of like her music was like my it was like this huge inspiration in my life. And so I always had this dream of being able to dance for her or even just to meet her. And so one day I was on set in Toronto and I randomly went on Twitter, and I never go on Twitter. Like, I don't use Twitter, and I just don't know why, but that day we were just waiting around and I went on Twitter and I just saw that she tweeted that she was holding an audition in Baltimore, which is like in the States, the next morning. And I was like on set and I was like, oh my God, I need to go. And I was like telling my friends that were there, and they were like, yeah, you need to go. So as soon as we wrapped, I got on a bus to Baltimore, which is like a 15-hour bus. And it was like such a fast decision. I was like, yeah, I'm going to Baltimore. I'll be there like in the morning. And I got there, went to the audition, like saw her, which to me at the time, because she was like, you know, my idol, and I still look up to her now, but back then it was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe that I was there with her and getting to audition and like dance in the same room as her. So anyways, luckily I did end up like, I don't know if booking is the right word, because it was like she was choosing a few dancers to come on stage with her for the concert. So I got to have that opportunity, which was like really, really crazy and surreal. And like, it was just, I think the craziest part was that like 2 days before that, I never ever would have believed someone if they told me that was gonna happen. And then 2 days later, I was like on stage at her concert, like dancing to one of her songs. So yeah, that was really, really crazy, and definitely one of those moments where I realized like you have to just follow your intuition sometimes, even if it feels like crazy. Like, even if you feel like, I don't know if this makes sense, but I just have this intense urge to go, you know? And I'm glad I followed my gut, because every piece of logic in me was like, Jade, like, don't get on a 15-hour bus. You don't even know where you're going. Like, you haven't even thought about this. But yeah, after that experience, it definitely taught me to just be crazy sometimes if if it means following your dreams or your path. So yeah.
Yeah, that's an incredible story, and it's great that you got to dance at your Idols tour, and that is an unreal experience. I think for anyone it would be amazing, so it's so great that you got to experience that. So we have came to the end of the interview now, and it's been great finding out more about yourself and your career, so thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're most welcome, and thank you to everybody who watched this video. I hope you all enjoyed the interview. Stay safe, guys, and I'll see you next week for another one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.